Hare Krishna. So we have seen the entire 5th chapter shloka by shloka in detail. Now let's see the entire chapter at one go. In chapter 4 what happened? In chapter 4, Krishna towards the end, that is shloka number 41 and 42, he spoke something which put Arjuna into a big ambiguity. In shloka number 41 of chapter 4, Krishna glorified Jnana Yoga and he also glorified renunciation. Jnana and renunciation, not Jnana Yoga, Jnana and renunciation. And immediately after that, he orders Arjuna, Uttishta Bharata, Uttishta, stand up and do what? Fight. Now Arjuna is completely bewildered. He is thinking, because his understanding is that Jnana and renunciation basically, it means cessation of all the material activities which are done to all these through all these senses. And now when Krishna is saying that work in devotion, that is fight for me, that's what Krishna is saying, that's work in devotion. So he's not understanding. At one time he is saying stop working, and the other time he is saying start working. So what am I supposed to do? Stop or start? This is the first question with which the 5th chapter starts. The first question where he's asking that which one is better? Oh Krishna, tell me very properly, which one is better? Renunciation or work in devotion? And here starts the answer by Lord Shri Krishna from shloka number 2 onwards. So here Krishna starts speaking in shloka number 2 onwards. From shloka 2 to 6, here Krishna is proving that how renunciation and work in devotion, they both are equal. Not much difference is there. Why? Because both of them are aiming at liberation. But then he also goes on to prove that how work in devotion is much better than that of renunciation because it is easier. So this is what he is speaking from shloka number 2 to 6. And then in shloka number 7, in fact from shloka number 7 to 12, so what Krishna is doing is, he is actually telling the characteristics of a person who is yoga yukta, or who is practicing nishkama karma yoga. And here, now we might have seen in most of the shlokas we have discussed about bhakti yoga. Why we have discussed about bhakti yoga? Because bhakti yoga will encompass everything which is below, and it will have nishkama karma yoga also. So in this way, now we have discussed bhakti yoga in each and every shloka, or most of the shlokas we can say. But actually when we calling it as yoga yukta, we are actually talking about nishkama karma yoga. So the person who is involved in this practicing of nishkama karma yoga or bhakti yoga, so what are the characteristics? So here it is given, such a person is never entangled. Shloka number 7 says he is never entangled. In shloka 8 and 9 it is said that such a person will remain aloof from sense objects. Then in 10 it is said that he is unaffected by sinful action, like the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Hope we remember this analogy, we discussed in great detail. And why is he doing all this? Why is he working? So that he can get purified. Only for the purpose of purification all this work is happening. And finally, in shloka number 12, it's spoken about how a person who is attached, what he gets, and a person who is detached, what he gets. So the person who is attached, who is greedy, what happens to him? He gets completely entangled here in this material world. But whereas when it comes to a person who is detached, such a person will attain the ultimate peace. So this is very, very nicely spoken here. And then from shloka number 13 to 16, Krishna is talking about 3 doers. We have discussed this in great detail. In shloka number 13, he is talking about the living entity, Atma, all of us. So what is our role, living entities? We desire. We desire. Whatever we want, we desire. Then in the next shloka, that is 14th, the 14th one, here it's talked about the material nature. So what does the material nature do? The material nature is one of the doers, and the material nature will materialize our desires. But then material nature is not independent. Material nature is dependent, is controlled completely. By whom? That is spoken in shloka number 15. It is controlled by the Supreme Lord, Lord Shri Krishna. So here we discussed in great detail how the Supreme Lord is just sanctioning our desires. So we are desiring, We living entities are desiring, Lord is sanctioning, and Prakriti or material nature, she is materializing that desire under the guidance and supervision of the Supreme Lord. So in this way, in this triangle, we understand that who is the culprit? The culprit is the living entity, all of us, because we started, we are desiring. And when we get the results, we are the ones who are enjoying also. So here, the super soul or the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not at all responsible for all those activities that we do. He just sanctions. He just sanctions based on our desires. And then in shloka number 16 we said, the one who knows this knowledge, all the three, very, very nicely, such a person is enlightened with knowledge by which the nescience is destroyed, the ignorance is removed. Now from shloka number 17 to 21, symptoms of a self-realized person is spoken about. Like for example in 17, it is given that one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings. When he gets this knowledge, he becomes fully cleansed of misgivings. In shloka 18, he sees with equal vision everyone. All the different species which are there, he sees with equal vision because he is actually seeing the Paramatma. In shloka number 19, it is said that he has already conquered the conditions of birth and death. Then in 20 and 21, it is said that he is already situated in transcendence and is enjoying unlimited happiness because he is concentrating on the Supreme. So now from shloka number 22 to 25, here it is spoken about why the person is stuck in problem. What is the basic cause? And here it is said that the person is stuck in problem because of the source of misery, and the intelligent person will not actually get in touch with the source of misery. That is given in shloka number 22. What is the source of misery? The source of misery is sense gratification. Why? Why it's a problem? Because it's having a beginning and an end. And it's obviously temporary. And lots of endeavor is put. So surely it's source of misery. And then in shloka number 23, Krishna is saying, so one should tolerate. Tolerate what? Tolerate all the urges of various senses of the body. Till which point? Till the last breath. And then he continues in shloka number 24, where he is saying that this controlling will be a bit difficult. But then, the one who is seeking pleasure within, such a person will be able to do it very, very easily. And here it is given that such a person is liberated in the Supreme and ultimately attains the Supreme. And in shloka number 25 and 26, now various other things are given, and various other symptoms are given of such a person. Especially the one is self-realized, self-disciplined and constantly endeavoring for perfection. Such a person will attain the ultimate destination. And Krishna is saying that he is assured of liberation in near future. So Krishna is saying very clearly, okay, all these qualities might be very lofty as of now, but then one thing is very clear. If we are sincere, if we are serious in our endeavor, surely we will attain that ultimate destination. So after speaking all this, Krishna gives a summary, a short summary of the Ashtanga Yoga process. And at the end, the last shloka number 29, Krishna talks about the greatest peace formula. He says that anyone who understands that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam, the beneficiary of Yajna and austerities. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he is the Supreme Lord of all the planets and all the Devi Devtas, the demigods. Third, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam, he is Suhrit, the real friend of each and every living entity. Such a person who understands all this, Nyatva Mam, such a person gets Shanti, Shanti Mrichyati. He attains the eternal peace, eternal satisfaction. So in this way, Krishna very, very beautifully, he explains various aspects of Nishkama Karma Yoga, and we pulled that to a higher level to understand the devotional service also. Now let's dive deep into what Krishna spoke in shloka number 27 and 28. He spoke about Ashtanga Yoga. And chapter number 6 is titled as Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. So let's see shloka by shloka, chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga. Hare Krishna.